What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rip City Rundown. We've got an in-person podcast for you guys today for this week. Just two of us. The other one is actually heading back to Portland right now. That is Cody. I just called him the other one, but he's heading back to Portland. He will probably do a couple of vids for you over the next couple days maybe, but we've got 4 games to talk about, and then we'll be grading all the players this year and how we've thought they've done this year. Rough week for the Blazers, 0-4, so it's going to be kind of a downer podcast.
First winless pod, I think.
First winless pod. The Blazers are now down to the 9th seed.
I don't care about seeds.
Seeds don't matter, but they are to 10-8, so hopefully we can stop this losing streak here in the coming days against the Knicks or Nets, because last thing I want is us to go to 500 while Dame's out. So
yeah, unfortunate week. I mean, it started with Brooklyn last Thursday. So we dropped to Brooklyn, dropped to Utah, dropped to Milwaukee, dropped to Cleveland. I don't think you're really that mad if you drop to the Bucks and the Cavs on the road, but I think everyone thought we could at least get a split or honestly win both against Nets Jazz. We had every opportunity to do so, but we didn't. We kind of saw some regression in the clutch time. We were winning a bunch of close games, and we're starting to, or at least in the Jazz and the Nets game, lost there at the end.
I'm trying to think, which was the game Dame went out, the Jazz or the Nets?
Good question, dude. I'll look.
I'm starting to mix my games up. Just I know Nets was the Royce O'Neal buzzer beater, and then obviously these last 2 games without Dame were unfortunate just because we're down 10 the whole game. So
I'm gonna go with Utah because Dame. I think it was after the game.
Oh, yeah.
That was the game. Dame
he
shot 214. He had a Valentine's Day, 214.
Yeah, so I felt like these past couple games, Grant's played fine. Simons has had a little struggle getting his shot, especially tonight against the Cavs. And then another just a big key is just the turnovers. We talk about it every podcast, but it's a big issue for the Blazers.
Yeah, I don't really know kind of what to say about turnovers at this point. I just feel like it's something the Blazers are either just never going to overcome, or they have yet to figure out an answer. I don't know if there is an answer. I mean, maybe post-trade deadline, this team looks a little different, so the identity shifts a little bit, and maybe you're not putting the ball in such risk. Because, I mean, some of the turnovers you live with if you are pushing in transition constantly and, defender makes a good play, but some passes, Simons, especially tonight against Cleveland, had about 3 or 4 turnovers. We just passed it to the corner where the guy was cutting, vacated the corner, and Simons just rifled it to the front row. So that's just not being on the same page. And at some point, you just can't say it's with time. At some point, you just got to hash that out.
Yeah, because I want to say when it comes to the Cleveland game, I mean, looking at the box score, I don't think, other than Simons, he kind of got his box score numbers a little better at the end when he hit a couple threes in the fourth. But other than him and Winslow, it wasn't necessarily a bad shooting night. Mm-hmm. I mean, Grant played well, Nurk played well, even Hart had a good shooting night. But when you give them 24 points, I think it was off turnovers, and then couple that with the fact that you got Mitchell shooting 6 of 9 from 3 or whatever he was, and as a team, I think they shot around 45%. That's just a recipe for disaster. So when you don't have the offensive firepower,
especially
that's Dame. You got to make your possessions count, which is something we did in games such as Phoenix and whatever game we won without Dame. That might have been the only one, but you're giving them free points.
New Orleans.
And, that was exactly what it was. It was New Orleans. I mean, it's just you got to play a pretty – when I say perfect, you just got to play a clean game when you're shorthanded.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love Drew Eubanks ending the possession with a hook shot from 12 feet, I don't think that's what we want every time down. The other thing without Dame is we just lack some three-point shooters. Winslow, Hart, I'm still going to put Nurk in the non-three-point shooter category. I mean, we want to touch on that. Nurk's expanding his game a little bit.
He kind of got to after he hit, was it 2 early threes or 1 early three? I was like, okay, if he gets the ball and he's wide open, I'll be fine with him shooting. And then right when he misses it, you're back to the don't shoot the ball, Nurk.
Right.
But I want to touch on Josh Hart and his reluctancy to shoot. And it's kind of same thing every time when he gets it on the swing pass. It's the pump and then drive. And while he's still above average driving the ball, you need him to be able to
just to create space.
Change it up, knock down shots.
Just to create space for other people and himself. Because if you go if you take a 10-game stretch and you take a couple threes a game and you're like in rhythm, taking the three, make or miss, teams that gets on the film, teams see that, they're going to close out a little harder. It makes your life easier. So I just wish Josh Hart would kind of be a little more excited and willing to shoot the basketball, because that is something that the Blazers need. Winslow airballed a three there against the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. Just grenade at the end of the shot clock. I don't know, dude. A lot of people are overreacting, in my opinion. It's a tough schedule. I mean, they're even saying like the Cavs are a legit threat in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion.
You just played probably two of the top.
Well, yeah,
four
but
teams.
What I'm saying is the Cavs, they are on a 3-game win streak, but they just dropped 5 in a row. Like, I mean, teams go through these patches, so
and especially
I'm not concerned. If we lose to New York, then I'll be like, come on.
I gotta say, we always do this every pod. We'll go through the next 4 games. We'll go ahead and do it now. We got Brooklyn or New York, the Knicks, Brooklyn, and then the 2 LA teams, which are both. We got LA Clippers at home, and then Lakers on the road in a back-to-back.
So many road games.
I really hope Dame is back for that Clippers game, because that is our second of our 3 nationally televised games, and he already missed the first one. So that would stink to have 2 of our 3 games without Dame.
To be fair, being 10-8 in Dame's is close to missing half, maybe a little less than half.
He's missed, let me see.
I'm very curious.
3, 4, 5, 6. He's missed 7 games.
So 7 of the 18, so not quite half.
So, but still, you're telling me Dame's missed that many games.
We've won.
And we're still 10-8, and we're.
Have we lost with Dame yet?
We lost against the Jazz. Well, he didn't finish the Jazz game.
Nets.
But we did lose the Nets, and then we also lost the Mavericks.
I don't think he played.
He played in the Mavericks. He didn't play in the Pelicans game. Because that was when we had the sneaky backdoor cover. He didn't play against the Pelicans because he didn't get to play against CJ, and that was our nationally televised game.
Right.
Or no, it wasn't our nationally televised game.
No, it wasn't.
I'm mixing things up. But we do play
a lot of games.
4 teams that I wouldn't say are easy wins. I mean, it would be nice to have the Rockets at this point, but again, I think it's another one where
is
if
our
you can
schedule getting easier, like later in the year?
Definitely past the trade deadline, it gets easier. And then, it just gets easier past the trade deadline.
I'm just looking over there, and I just see LA, Utah, Denver, Minnesota, Dallas, Denver, Golden State. I mean, we get Oak City twice, but you're not like, why do they got to schedule us Oak City back-to-back games? You don't sweep teams.
And I'm trying to not look over there because I want us talking the mic, because I don't want to be bad quality. But mid-December, when we go San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, OKC, Denver, Charlotte, Golden State, Detroit. While you sprinkle in a couple tough games in there, that's a pretty soft part of the schedule. But going back to the 4 games we have before the next podcast, is it another one where it's like 2-2 is good? At this point, I just don't want to get to 500.
We got the LA teams, and then we got
the New York teams.
3
road games and 1 home.
Give me 2-2. I'll be pleased with 2-2. I think 3-1's not out of the question. I think 1-3 is not out of the question. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I would hope not. We go 0-4. I really do think we beat New York. And I'm gonna say we beat Brooklyn. I don't think Brooklyn's gonna beat us twice. And I think I'll say we split the LA. We'll go 3-1. And
then I'll say I hope Dame plays against LA. If he's not ready, don't rush him back again. Maybe I don't think we rushed him back last time. But
I respect you. There's gonna be the Blazers are gonna come to a crossroads soon, in my opinion. Of how much we rest Dame versus how much are we actually committed to the playoffs. Because, like, if you can rest Dame all you want, but if you're going to keep dropping games and not go to the playoffs, it's like, well, you just rest.
I just think it was.
I'm not saying you need to play him.
It was comical how all the Blazer fans on Twitter were pissed off at the Blazers for sitting Dame a couple extra games.
God forbid we lose 1 game.
And oh my gosh, we won the game. Funny enough, against the Pelicans, and then right when he goes down, they're like, "Why are we rushing? Why did we rush back Dame?" It's
it's
Twitter. It's Twitter, but
Twitter is the home of hot takes, for good or for better or for worse. Let's transition from losing, because that's no fun. Let's jump into some positives. What?
This thing was moving. I don't know. Again, kind of a scuffed setup right now. I don't know if it's picking
We are
up.
on vacation.
I don't know if it's picking up some like movements anytime we move the table, but we'll try to not to. I'm trying not to move this wire, but continue.
Sorry. I wanted to, first off, it's kind of weird doing this next to you. We're usually over Zoom.
And also, before we go any further, this is uploaded on Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
people.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there that's listening.
If you are watching this right now, comment what you are thankful for this year. Basketball related or non-basketball related, doesn't matter. Also, I hope you all have a great meal and spend time with your loved ones and your friends.
Mm-hmm.
So, back to Blaze basketball. Okay, so let's talk about some grades.
Let's do grades.
Let's grade some
I'm
players.
gonna bring my computer over here.
Bring your computer into
you don't
the
see my
screen
grades.
as I check my grades.
So, for those wondering, and you saw by the title, we will be grading each Blazer player this season for how we, based on our expectations for them, and
Yeah,
then
so,
also
It's
just
basically
what we've seen so far this season.
we're grading them more based on how they have performed relative to our expectation as opposed to like relative to just like an NBA All-Star. Because
Let's
obviously,
give an example. LeBron James has not played up to LeBron James' level. I would give him, say, a random C+ this season. But I would give a player such as, fill in the blank. Desmond Bane, probably an A. Because
it's been balling.
do I think Desmond Bane's better than LeBron? No, but I think you get the picture. Where do we want to start? Want to start with Chauncey or want to go players first?
Let's go coach.
Coach Chauncey, I gave Chauncey an A-. I know we're 10-8, but he's kind of once again been dealt a kind of rough hand with the Dame injury. But the fact that he's gotten a couple wins without Dame is amazing. This team is playing amazing defense. Again, I don't know the numbers now, but prior to I think this most recent loss, we were a top 10 defense. We were still 10. Don't know where we are now. And he's got us playing hard. He's got us playing hard basketball, something you didn't see a lot under Terry Stotts, and it's a different style of basketball where we don't have to win by just outscoring opponents. So I gave Chauncey an A-. I think that's if we didn't go on this 4-game losing streak and we were still at the top of the West, it would have been an A+. But we're 10-8 now, so we're not.
I also gave Chauncey an A-.
Okay.
And similar to your reasons, sorry, I'm just trying to find my list, but I'll find it. A- for Chauncey because while I do think he's earned and overachieved with this roster so far. Like this roster's probably not a 10-8 roster necessarily. The drawbacks I have with Chauncey right now is I think sometimes he doesn't let the offense just play. Sometimes he's
too
many set plays. I mean, it can be a good problem. But it kind of rears its ugly head when the players don't execute it on the floor. So I'm not saying he needs to run better sets. Maybe just like let Dame and Nurk run pick and roll 5 times in a row, and just see what Dame can do. So, but Chauncey has extracted a lot of success out of this roster so far, and I thought he's handled games well. I thought he's used timeouts well. I think he's doing a good job of like mixing up. I like his usage of the zone. Like he's being unpredictable.
I even like his usage of the challenge. Like I think Corey Jez does a good job explaining it, but like he uses his challenge when it's like legit a big point swing. He's not going to use it in the third quarter on a Nurk foul. It's the third foul of the game when it's going to result in a jump ball.
The call is.
When it's going to result in a jump ball. He uses it in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left when it's either going to be an and one for the Blazers or a charge going the other way for other team. So overall, I think Chauncey's been very good this year, and I've liked what I've seen from him. All right, we're going to talk about Dame next. You want to give me your grade for him first?
Yeah, so I'm going to be blunt. I'm giving Dame a B+.
I gave him the exact same thing.
That's funny. So,
I think
go ahead.
I think he would be he was an MVP candidate before his first injury, but when he came back from that injury, he was kind of struggling to shoot the ball. Again, you're going to go through ruts all the time, so I'm not saying he's going to end as a B+ player. And then also,
he's also been hurt.
I hate grading on health, but the best
availability.
What's the saying? The best
players play.
No, it's like I don't know, but you can give your reason. I'm trying to think of it.
Okay, I gave Dame a B+ because availability matters. I also think that he was not at the peak of his powers at the start of the year. He did have some clutch buckets, but this is more a B+ is more of me saying I expect so much from Dame, and he's still playing at an all-star level. He's still a bona fide all-star. But I honestly, like, when I think of Dame, I think of double nickel game
The
against
best
Denver.
ability is availability. That's
The
what I was
best
looking
ability
for.
is availability. So,
to look
AKA
it
Dame, and missing 7 to 18 games, it's unfortunate to knock him for that, but I'm going to give him B+. I think Dame still has room to grow this season into an absolute MVP candidate. And
Believe it or not, these past bad shooting games has tanked his stats. He's shooting 42% from the field and 33% from three.
that's what 1 for 12 from 3 will do to you.
And missing
All
7
right, moving
games,
along. Let's go Anthony Simons.
Yeah.
You want me to go or you?
Go ahead.
I gave him a B.
I gave him a B as well.
That's funny.
For the reasons that similar to Dame, but he's struggled, I think, a little
He just
more with
struggles
the
shooting
shot.
the ball.
He's also struggled a lot in the first halves.
Yeah.
His shooting numbers end up looking better for games because he goes on a quick threes in a row, which is amazing. But it always happens in the second half, which sometimes it's big, sometimes it's in garbage time.
Well, he scored 20, but he scored 14 in the fourth and some tonight at least. But Simons has been good. He's been a little inefficient. He's had some turnovers. I think B is right for him. I think if I was going to give him an A+, it'd be like he was playing even exceeding last year. So I don't think I gave a single person A+. Oh, I did. I gave one.
I gave 1 A+.
I gave 1 A+. It's definitely the same. It's the same. It's
person.
definitely the same person.
Yeah.
Should I just go and tell you who it is?
Who?
It's Jeremy Grant.
It's Jeremy Grant,
It's
too.
Jeremy Grant. And
And
why
I-
is it Jeremy Grant? Jeremy Grant is shooting efficiently from 3. He's playing good defense. He's getting to the line. He's scoring buckets. He's leading the team when Dame's out. He's basically the number 2 option. Jeremy Grant has been everything the Blazers want and more. He is my MVP of the Blazers so far this season.
Yeah, a first-round
Passionate about my man, Jeremy.
Got him for literally chump change at the end of the day. A Bucks 2025 first-round pick. I'm sorry, but Giannis is still going to be on the Bucks in 2025 probably, and they're going to be still a championship contender. But that's not really the point. Jeremy Grant has been the best wing that Dame's ever played, and I think it's the fact that we've never had a wing like him. It's just shows just how
Bad.
we didn't realize how much
Valuable
that
wings
helps and
are.
how valuable that is.
Yeah.
We did, but we didn't.
We did, but we didn't go get anyone because
So
it was.
the fact that when he can
Not
catch and
good.
shoot a 3 anytime, and I'm comfortable with it, he's shooting 47% from the field, 47% from 3. That's all-star numbers.
And here's why Grant. I gave it Grant A+. If there was anything to nitpick on Grant, it'd be shot selection in the mid-range. This dude takes some really tough shots sometimes.
Just get to the bucket.
Let's get to the bucket and just get the refs to call fouls. I mean, Donovan Mitchell and Garland can do it, so why can't you do it?
Absolutely.
All right, next up, let's go with Nurkic. Please tell me you didn't give this game a score. What did you give Nurkic?
I gave him a C+.
I gave Nurkic a B-.
Okay.
Let's go.
Pretty close, but C+ for the reasons that he is just... For those that can't see it and they're listening, it is just up and down, and it is just... It's a rough viewing experience sometimes. Tonight, he had his good moments, but he had some atrocious moments. He holds it down defensively. I think he's had a solid defensive year. But I said, and you can go back to whatever podcast I said it in, and I probably said it in multiple, I was thinking Nurk was going to be the best Nurk he's been since his leg injury.
So he's let you down a little bit.
And he's averaging 13 and 10. He's actually shooting the 3 ball not terribly on 1.5 attempts a game. He's shooting 47% from 3, but it's still you don't want him shooting. But his inconsistent play it's just frustrating to watch. I thought he was going to be a little more consistent. I thought he was going to be a little more conditioned as well. So, C+.
I'm giving Nurk a B- because I think while his... First off, I agree with he's been up and down. He can go off he had 22 tonight, but he also didn't look great tonight. Hit some threes. I do like the 3-point shot added to his game. I just hope he doesn't get overconfident with it in Jack 4 game. It's definitely not what we want. But I gave him B- because my expectations of him coming into the year was a little lower than yours. I knew Nurk's solid. He's a good, solid, big man in the NBA. But his counterpart tonight, Jared Allen, I'd rather have Jared Allen on this team than Nurk.
And I know some people are out there
And that's not a knock against
pro
Nurk.
Nurk. And
Nurk's
I
great.
still appreciate Nurk because I understand that you can't just get an elite center in the NBA and just plop
And
him into any team.
he plays like an elite center from time to time. It's just the inconsistency.
And
It's the
again, I'm
inconsistency.
not asking him to play like an elite center.
And
I just don't want him to look like a backup center. I want him to be a steady starting center. I would rather just take the
And
steadiness.
I
don't
think
have
it
a
gets
comparison,
magnified. It gets magnified because he'll look really poor and like from 2 feet away from the rim. Like he kind of tried to get a foul on Jared Allen and kind of like flopped and threw the ball up, and it's just not good to watch. It's kind of ugly.
It's what he's capable of. That's just like you got to unlock that. And
B- for Nurk. B- for Nurk.
C+. Let's go Josh Hart, the final starter.
I went A-.
Yeah, I was kind of back and forth. I dropped it to B-.
B-. I went A-.
I know you did, because I was gonna go B or B+, but I think it's recency bias, so this might be a bad grade. He kind of has turned into a slight offensive liability in the past couple games. Now, I think that is elevated because his role has been elevated without Dame. I'll give you positives about him. He is just transformed our transition offense. He is a one-man wrecking crew, and while he might not be the best sometimes finishing, he at least pushes the pace. And then he is, at the end of the day, probably the heart and soul of this team. Hart. He just gives it his all 100% every night, and then you hear stories he gives it his all in practice every time. I just want him to work on that shot. If he can get to it, what is he shooting from 3 right now? He is shooting, believe it or not, he's actually shooting 36.5% from 3.
But on no attempts.
On 1.5 attempts per game. I would love him to be shooting 3 attempts per game for the 35 minutes he's getting. And if he can stay at that number at 3 attempts, I can live with that. I just want his offensive game to be a little more well-rounded than the same predictable
I will
thing.
say I'm giving him A- because he has been the best rebounding guard in the league. He's given the Blazers unmatched energy on the defensive end, and he really sets the pace and tone for the team. He gets buckets when the offense isn't going. And I'm grading him when he's in his role, and that's when Dame's on the floor. When you're asking Josh Hart to take 15 shots a game, not saying he did that tonight, but my man should be hovering around 7 to 8 shots with 5 or 6 of them in transition. The other needs to be like spot-up threes. Mm-hmm. So when Dame's on the floor, he looks a lot better, so I'm grading him there. He's been, in terms of my expectation, like I was kind of in that camp of maybe bring him off the bench because he is a great piece and he can initiate offense. Plugged him into the starting lineup. He's been undersized. He's low-key the same size as Norm, maybe a little taller than Norm, and no one's complained about the 3-guard lineup as much this year, and I think that's due to Josh Hart rebounding way above his size and initiating offense. I'm giving him A-.
Yeah, I think B- might have been a little.
That's
I don't want to be picky. I don't know.
No, you don't.
No,
I defend your grade.
But at the same time, I don't want to be too picky, but I also don't want to just throw out A's, so left and right. So you drop your grades too, but don't get
Shane Sharp.
Personal opinion. Sharp. We're going Sharp. I got a B+ for Sharp.
I got a straight A.
Straight A. B+ for Sharp. I think that Sharp has been.
I'm grading this on like projection too.
That's fair. I think Sharp for what he's been so far is about a little over what I expected.
Wow.
I think
you were expecting a lot.
I wasn't expecting. I said a little over what I was expecting.
Well, I mean, dude. Okay.
I think
you thought he'd average double digits.
Is he averaging double
digits? I don't
digits?
know, but he's putting up.
He's averaging 9 points a game. He is shooting
close enough.
50% from the field, 43% from 3. So I'm gonna hold my B+ for. He slowed down a little bit, but then again,
the only reason why I'm
A-. I'm sorry, guys, A- because again, he's a rookie. That's so.
It's a rookie. Yeah, it's a rookie. I'm giving him an A just because he's. And this is more on projection, like I said, or potential. He's shooting the ball really well. He's got the athleticism. He's honestly won us some games by carrying the bench load because there's just devoid of offensive creativity on that bench. And defensively projects to be pretty solid, and he's not getting – I mean, he gets beat. That's fine. He's a rookie. So I'm happy with what I've seen from Sharp. In fact, I think – Sharp's going to, down the line, hopefully look like a little bit of a steal. So I'm giving him an A because he's impacting the game in ways I feel like rookies don't usually do. Even if it's like a scoring outburst 1 every 5 games. Like, I don't know.
I'm just waiting for the like Shaden Sharp breakout 25-point game. Mm-hmm. I don't know when that's going to happen, and I don't know if it will.
He had 17 the other night.
He has had some
Next
really
up,
good games
let's
out there.
go with Justice Winslow.
I gave Winslow a B+.
I did as well.
Because Winslow was the one flying under the radar this offseason. While I knew he was going to play, it was just like, oh, we have Justice Winslow too. He wasn't getting the kind of praise that, say, an Asir Little was getting or I don't know who else there was off the bench, honestly, preseason. But
Josh Hart.
Yeah, Josh Hart. He's averaging 7 points this season, 4.4 rebounds, 3.4 assists, and his shooting numbers are
Probably not great.
39% from the field and only 22% from three, but that's not what he's here to do. We saw that when he airballed tonight. He has been a really good, steady piece off the
best
bench.
assignment every night, and he can initiate the offense as a point forward. We saw him hit 1 3 in Cleveland, so I'm airball 3, so I'm not even going to talk about the shooting really, but I like Winslow, and I'm giving him a B+ because he typically knows his spots on the floor. It's either a little push floater. He's kind of developed a nice little two-man game with Eubanks, a couple lobs tonight. So I'm going to give him a B+ because he's exceeded my expectations as a passer, and just, I mean, I knew he was one of those, like, he played for Miami. He's playing this with Spo, so I knew he was going to bring effort and energy and defensive intensity. But yeah, his offensive skill set's a little better than I thought, and he plays hard, so I'm going to give him a B+.
And I don't think this is the majority of Blazer fans, but again, Twitter is a nasty place, so that's just where I see a lot of the Blazers fans voice their opinions. This 10-4 start, or what were we, 10-3? Or whatever the start was, 10-4 start has kind of skewed the Blazers' expectations. Like the fact that we've lost 4 in a row and say Winslow had a bad game here, people are like, Winslow stinks and what is he doing and blah, 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 blah. But Winslow, based on what you were thinking when you were watching in the preseason, is playing a lot better than what we expected.
I'll say this to people on Twitter, frankly anywhere, who get worked up. Yes, I want to see the Blazers win every game, but I don't live and make my opinions possession by possession. You're going to make it week by week, or honestly even month by month. If you go game by game, you're going to be like, Nurk is great, Nurk sucks, Nurk is great, Nurk sucks. Yeah. Nurk is great, Nurk sucks.
That's what it's going to be.
So, you need sample sizes here in the NBA, and there's 82 games. So, I said if the Blazers got to 20 wins for 10 losses, I would take this team seriously. So, I guess I'm not taking this team seriously.
Wow, that's kind of funny to think about.
Yeah, but 10-8, it's just I don't know. You just take it easy, everyone. Just take it easy. All right. Eubanks. I'm giving Eubanks a B.
I gave Eubanks an A.
Yeah, I just couldn't
my expectations were so bad.
That's fair. It's just it feels wrong giving a player an A who's 6'8" and is a defensive liability. He plays hard though. I'll give it to Eubanks. He plays hard. He runs the rim hard. He's a great finisher. I mean, he probably just looks great because he is backing up Nurk. For how undersized he is, he's a solid defender. He gets blocks that I feel like he just shouldn't get. He blocked Evan Mobley tonight, who's probably doubling his wingspan. Maybe not, obviously not, but I'll give him a B just because. I mean, you could convince me to bump it up to B+.
The reason for my A is because
it makes sense because I actually thought he wasn't playing at all.
I thought he was going to get no minutes. I thought
he's probably behind Sarr.
I did think Sarr was going to play over him. He has come in certain points of this game and changed the complexion of the game. Yeah. There's been times when he has closed it out and wins over Nurkic. I don't know if that's more of a plus than Eubanks or a negative toward Nurkic, but the fact that we have been comfortable with him as our backup center is at least a B+ to me. And I think he's exceeded the average of backup center.
He's pretty average.
I think he's played exceptional.
Maybe for him.
Exceptional. Again, this is for him.
I mean, we're also we got to remember the bad plays, not just the good plays. Man has some tough plays. But it brings me a point back to Winslow and why I rated Winslow so high. Winslow also has been that small ball 5, and he's matched up against some tough guys in the clutch and has done very well. Let's move along to Nasir Little.
I gave Nasir C-.
I gave Nasir a solid C+.
C- because I think my expectations were a little too high for him, but fourth year, it would have been it's a contract year. He ended up signing the extension which was a steal extension, but I was expecting him to be the starter, and I was expecting him to kind of honestly just have the stats that Josh Hart had with less assists and rebounds.
Nasir just doesn't have great hand-eye skills. I feel ball skills.
Believe it or not,
he's a good shooter.
He is
low-key.
50-40 right now. He's shooting 50% from the field, 40% from three. I think where I take his grade down so much is he has not been that good defensively. And I thought he was going to be like that guy defensively to where like
He has the attributes.
he has the attributes, but like he kind of like even tonight there was one example where I don't know if this is a coaching thing or a Nasir thing, but Isaac Okoro is sitting in the corner and they're kicking it out to him. Isaac Okoro is not a good 3-point shooter. He's one of actually the worst in the league for the attempts he takes. Nasir flies out and like tries to block his shot clearly, like thinking he's going to shoot, and Okoro just pump fakes and then gets the defense out of whack and it ends up with a bucket. That's something where you just got to be smart and know the scattering report, break down, give him the space to shoot if he wants to shoot it. And then there's scenarios where like he kind of just gets blown by sometimes. Now, again, these are things he can improve because, again, he has the physical attributes. But as of now, they haven't been good. And I give him a C-.
I gave Nasir a C+ because he has not lived up to my expectations, obviously. But I do see some offensive potential if it's in just catch and shoot or if it's like rim running. Yeah, he did have one lamp where he just absolutely smoked it. Like sometimes I feel like I think the decision making has to catch up to the athleticism.
I feel like his mind's got to slow down when he's out there.
Yeah, but I'll give him. He's one of the players that I feel like has not lived up to expectation. I think most people would agree with that, and it's also just from a lack of playing time.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily his fault. So maybe it's a little harsh on him, but of course you can always change it around. And I'm rooting for Nasir, obviously. You got any more? I didn't grade any more, but I can.
I went ahead and just threw some in for Keon, Trendon, and Jabari. Keon, I said B. I don't have a lot of sayings, like reason behind this. He's only played 6 games, but he did have that one game where he was playing big time down the stretch. Again, a B because I wasn't expecting him to play much, and when he has, he's done some good things. He's done some bad things, so you give him a simple B.
Trenton, honestly, I'll give a B to Trenton. Honestly, Trenton just hasn't big enough sample size for me.
I said C+.
He was Summer League MVP. So shout out to Watford for that.
I think Eubanks' good play has kind of put Trendon down.
But
yeah, Trendon's got a little more bag.
Well, yeah, he's got more of offensive prowess, not necessarily finishing. I mean, Trendon doesn't really shoot. He's out there to like set screens and
kind of playmake, honestly.
Kind of playmake out of the screen and roll with the 4-on-3. He's much better than that than Eubanks, and even Nurk can be a little sloppy. So I give Watford props for that. It's kind of similar to Nasir and Keon. It's hard for me to grade when they're not playing enough. Like that's why obviously we're not grading Gary Payton.
Yeah, obviously. I said Jabari B, by the way, just because I wanted to give him a grade.
Yeah, Jabari B. Yeah, Jabari, 2nd round pick. You came in. You have not looked like a total dumpster. But yeah, I mean, Jabari's played a few. I mean, he had one nice game. We had like 7, maybe it was 5 or 7, but yeah, he's played some spot minutes that matter here and there. No. But yeah, those are the grades. Let us know what you think. I like my list. I think it's fair. I mean, again, we're only 18 games into this young season. We're actually coming up on a fourth of the way. Yeah, we're soon to be fourth of the way.
About 20.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 20. Yeah, 20. Call it 20 is fourth. But say we split, and we're 11-9. You do that 4 times. It's 50. That's 44 wins.
That's where we said.
And then you have 2 games left to get to 46. You win 45 games, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, this team sucks." There's a lot of teams that are good right now that I don't think will sustain it. The Kings. There are a lot of teams that are bad that I think will get better. The Warriors. So I mean, it's still early. Again, like what? Honestly, I'll start standings watching and like getting into the playoff mindset. We need to push for the playoffs like New Year's Day. Yeah. Actually, Christmas. We're going to the Hornets game. So
gotta win that one.
Gotta win that one, obviously, because we'll be there. But it's just not worth looking at. Like, I hate when people are like, "Oh my gosh, we dropped to the play-in game tonight," and it's like,
a game back at first.
Like, or 2 games back
Probably
first. But there's just a lot of teams that are good in the West, so we just got to keep plodding along and winning games. And Dame needs to get healthy. Anything else, Cole?
I think that's all we got. We wanted to keep it short, given the fact there was just the
tough week.
2 of us.
Very tough week. No
Cody, and 0-4 is rough. But I want to hear you guys' grades, and if you agreed or disagreed on any of ours specifically. let us know because I want to hear your reasoning
How
on
about-
why you,
Okay, now
you
I'll ask
disagree.
one more question to go along with player grades. Let's go with team grade. After this 4-game losing streak, is this team still exceeded expectations, or now are they more in line?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I won't give them a grade. I'll give them like an A minus because when healthy,
Recency
this
bias is a real thing. To be fair, we've looked pretty bad the last 4 games.
what would you say, like A plus?
No, I'm just saying that like if we had started 0-4 and then came
yeah,
back
absolutely.
and won, yeah, it's just the optics of it. It's like college football playoff.
And it's also just
Shout out
it's
the
proving
Ducks.
how valuable Dame is once again. But when healthy, this
Yeah.
team has proven that they can beat anybody, which is a welcoming sight. So I think that's all we got.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. We play New
Friday.
York on Friday
Okay, and then we got a nice matinee game against the Nets on Sunday. So
in Brooklyn. That's gonna be tough. We are
gonna
in
be-
New
that's gonna
York
be-
for the weekend.
by the way, that's the Barclays Center is probably going to be a library.
It's
Sunday afternoon.
I think,
they already get no fans.
I think Madison Square Garden's where the Big East tournament is, and of course I know you've seen it. The YouTube video, the 11-game run that immortalized Kim Walker. It's a classic. If you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. They describe Madison Square Garden, which is going to be the Barclays Center, on Sunday as cavernous, empty, and you can hear a pin drop. So that's going to be the Barclays Center.
Yeah.
They'll probably, honestly, I don't want to get into that, but there's probably going to be more noise outside the stadium than inside.
Yeah.
So
Well,
with everything
that.
that's going on, but yeah, hopefully we get some wins this week. Would like the Blazers to get back on a winning note and foot, and hopefully Dame's calf heals up. So
Yeah, I'll give him my calf if he needs it.
I'll donate my calf. You can.
But that'll be it. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Helps out a lot.